Hey guys, welcome to Listen Chump. My name is Sam. Recently I started playing tennis and I got pretty good at it. Pretty good. I started watching it a lot on TV too, and here I'll share some of my impressions and opinions on the sport and its players. Now, tennis. Some people may think it's boring, confusing, or some may even think
Ha! Gay!
I don't blame you. I used to think that way myself. I can see why guys in flashy clothing grunting while hitting a ball back and forth for hours might evoke this, but what I myself realized while getting interested in the sport is that it's very demanding physically and mentally. The guys are sprinting for hours, the ballistics of it are quite impressive, and many players are quite badass to be honest. Oh, and by the way, sorry ladies, but I don't know enough about women's tennis to talk about it. Here, I'll mainly talk about my favorite players, but first about the three that dominated the sport for a decade and a half, what they call the Big Three. At the beginning of the new millennia, old rival legends like Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi were fading away, and no one was totally dominant for a while. That was until Federer became number one in early 2004 at the age of 22. He retained the spot for a record-breaking 237 weeks, until 2008 when Nadal switched with him. Up until Nadal began winning a lot in 2005, Federer was so dominant that many people feared the sport would get boring. This came from his skill and playing style. Roger Federer uses a classic Eastern forehand grip, a one-handed backhand, and also a big, powerful, and very accurate serve. Of the three dominant players, Federer features the coolest and most relaxed demeanor, even in victory. One thing he's really known for is his fluid footwork, which is so gracious, it makes it seem like he's gliding on the court. This image is reinforced by the fact he doesn't sweat much, and he seems to always stay elegant on the court. It's pretty amazing that he still wins Masters 1000s and Grand Slams today, though we can see he's a bit less stable than before. In many matches, he makes such errors and has such low points, we might say, he's not getting younger, his time has passed, he won't retire in too long. And then suddenly...
And his name is Federer!
Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the
He pulls such incredible shots that you don't believe your eyes. And then he puts 3 balls in the net again. With 101 ATP titles, including 20 Grand Slam trophies and many other records, he's undoubtedly one of the best players of all time, and the fact that he plays so well today only reinforces that. As Federer dominated tennis in the mid-2000s, a young, totally different player came in to break his supremacy. The rivalry between the two became legendary. Nadal won his first Grand Slam title with the French Open in 2005 and has won 17 since. He finally became world number 1 in 2008 by ending Federer's reign at Wimbledon. The Spaniard plays in a rough way and running through the court like his life depended on it on every point, hits the ball with a quite noticeable grunt, and sweats a lot. Federer's elegance here clashes with Rafa's athleticism and his never-say-die attitude. Nadal's attrition playing style is mainly an aggressive baseline defense. It involves a shot with his characteristic semi-western grip to produce more spin and make the balls bounce higher than the classic flat Eastern forehand grip. Rafael Nadal has the ultimate fighting spirit, and with his gladiator emotions, his many ticks, and his Spanish stare, his overall style is unmistakable.
was a very good match, very difficult. He's a tough opponent. I won in the end, and I'm very happy about it. And this is the camera stand I made to film this scene. It's not too pretty, but I'm very happy about it.
Although he's good on every surface, his favorite at best is clay, as he can run as hell, hit the ball with a lot of spin, and basically outplay his opponents on it. He holds many records on it, including 12 French Open titles, and is nicknamed the King of Clay. His serve is not that great in terms of power, but it compensates with accuracy and his overall play. His main problem, I'd say, is that he plays at 32 years old, as in his beginnings, and with his rough play, rough running, the knees have a hard time. Injuries and setbacks are part of his play in a way. Despite of this, Rafael Nadal is still an incredible player who can beat everyone in his best. He's one of the only players who can cope with losing a first set 6-1 or 6-0 and still keep fighting. Despite his rugged appearance, he's a true gentleman and always shows a great sense of honor and respect for other players.
Encounter between two giants of the game. What a match on centre court.
At the time when the polarizing rivalry between Federer and Nadal was fully installed, a third player came among them.
Et c'est fait, Novak Djokovic remporte son premier Grand Chelem.
Novak Djokovic became number 3 in 2007, won the Australian Open the next year, and finally number 1 in 2011. Since then, he spent many years on the position, and last year in 2018, he made an incredible comeback from injury by starting beyond number 20 and becoming number 1 at the end of the year. Djokovic is a very complete player with an aggressive baseline style that alternates defense and offense with superiority in both to demoralize his opponents.
Tennis from another level.
One of the best serve returners in the world as I speak. He doesn't run like hell on the court like Nadal, but he always seems to be well placed on the court. Also note his two-handed backhand is one of the best in the game today.
It's phenomenal.
Despite his tremendous skill, Novak Djokovic is perhaps the least liked among the three mentioned. He gained a reputation for arrogance, which mainly came from his first year in the public eye, with his parents and all, and some of his behavior on court. The truth is that Djokovic is a great person, but shows more emotions than the two others, so Novak's little outbursts get easily noticed. The thing is that he really tries to create that image and show how nice he could be, but his negative emotions tend to show up sometimes. That gives a kind of weird duality. Although Djokovic is not one of my favorite players, he's an extremely competent champion with a stable game. And I can only admire him for his accomplishments, which include 15 Grand Slam titles, holding all 4 major titles at once, and the highest number of points with 16,950. The fact that Federer, Nadal and him are still dominating the sport after all these years is unprecedented and shows how they truly stand apart in history. Some of you may ask, well, what about Andy Murray? No doubt he's among the all-time greats, but although he was a dominant player in the last dozen years, I don't really think he compares with the three others. Where first of all he retired at the beginning of this year, as sad as it is.
I can't keep doing this.
But it's really looking at the achievements that we can compare him with the big three. Looking here at the world number 1 chart, starting with Federer.
Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now. Buzz, this is Houston. 1-1.
Now the world number 1.
Nope. Or even the Grand Slams won. It's not that he wasn't good, very far from that, but he won't fit in history at the same place as the three others. Apart from the big three, there are today a lot of good players. My favorite overall, of course, is Federer, which I already talked about. The second one is a guy with a big name in the game, but who struggled with many injuries throughout the years. I'm talking about Juan Martín del Potro. This guy is one of the most impressive players in the circuit. Nicknamed the Tower of Tandil, this 6'6", 215 pounds guy has one of the biggest forehands and certainly the most satisfying to watch. I wanted to do a John Cena parody with him, but a second time in the video would be too much. What am I kidding?
And his name is Del Potro!
Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise where I'm shining.
Especially since he's a really nice, gentle giant. It's really sad to know that he was wounded last year. He slipped on the cement and fractured his right kneecap. Now this kind of wound would make a soccer player cry and faint and call for a medevac. But Del Potro here tried to resume playing with a big bandage. He's making his comeback in the last couple of weeks, so I wish him the best. Even though he looks like a 45-year-old Australian guy from the bush, he really is a good player. This 6'8" South African is primarily a big server, but he really can hold his own in match. Enough to get to the top 5.
Oh, what a strike!
He also took part in one of the longest matches in history. Look at this, after 6.5 hours, the two guys can barely run.
It was in this moment, when all hope had faded.
Wrong movie.
Lefty!
Left hand!
It's in!
Oh, it's in!
We've seen it all!
My fourth favorite is perhaps Rafael Nadal, but my fifth is a much less known guy. This player has one of the cleanest playing styles I've ever seen, and with a smooth, almost flawless footwork.
Goffin! Proving it's not a one-man party.
He's not known to be a big server, but last time in Rome, I saw him do a 220 km/h serve. One thing that stands out is his cool demeanor on the court. Through success, stressful times, and victory.
How good is this from Goffin?
Of course, before leaving, I must mention that we're witnessing a lot of new talents coming here to challenge the old guys. You have Zverev, who is a very good and now established top 10 player. You have Tsitsipas, the elegant Greek with a fine playing style. My fellow countryman Shapovalov, a flashy shot maker but who's a bit unstable. And many other promising players like Kachanov, Medvedev, Chorich, etc. I think that when the big three will come to retire, these guys won't let the standard fall. Well, that's pretty much it. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any commentaries or questions, feel free to share them. Like and subscribe if you want, and I'll see you around.